Hello, and welcome to an emergency episode of Info Hazard. We're here because Trump is trying to turn us all into people just like him. He wants us all to be lying backstabbers. But so anyway, this is something that's like so bad. I hate a lot of the things that Trump has done. Longtime fans of the show will probably know this.
Really?
Yeah, and I think that this is so bad that him even talking about this is actually one of the worst things that he's done in all of his time as president.
In his time as president does narrow it down. I mean, we have like lots of Epstein files to go through for examples of things that he has done that are worse.
That's true, but, that's not public info yet. I don't know what he did or didn't do.
That was before his presidencies.
But so Denmark is one of our allies. They're a founding member of NATO. We promised to protect them if they're invaded. They promised to protect us if we're attacked. They sent troops into Iraq with us. Some of their troops even died in Iraq.
A higher percentage than any other participant.
And in case you're like, Iraq, that was so long ago. What have they done for us recently? You know what? They invented Ozempic. Clearly, that's a medicine tailored for America, dude. We clearly, that's what we needed.
They made it just for us.
Exactly. And we buy so much of it.
We pay the most for it. We need it the most. It's a win-win situation.
Yeah, a symbiotic relationship. But Donald Trump does not agree. He says the U.S. needs to own Greenland in order to prevent Russia or China from occupying in the future. And he says, quote, "We are going to do something on Greenland whether they like it or not, because if we don't do it, Russia or China will take over Greenland, and we're not going to have Russia or China as a neighbor," Trump told reporters at the White House.
There was some sort of like defense agreement that covered this exact sort of situation, like some agreement where if any of the parties involved were attacked,
maybe
then
in the
they
North
would be
Atlantic?
retaliated. Yeah, something like it's a treaty organization based in the North Atlantic that would protect each other in the event of an attack from Russia or China.
Alas, we can only dream, though, of such a scenario.
No, it's fucking crazy that would be. Because obviously NATO, like they're in NATO and we're in NATO. We made NATO for this situation.
Exactly.
Like it's so disingenuous to say that we need it to protect it from Russia.
The other thing I want to point out is he says we don't want Russia as a neighbor, but Russia is already a neighbor. They border Alaska. You may remember that a previous vice presidential candidate was able to see Russia from her house. That's pretty neighborly, if you can see it from your house. And also,
not to dig into, not to nitpick. I mean, I feel like you're definitely like nitpicking like not the most important part of what he's saying.
Yeah, well, Phil already nitpicked the important part of what he was saying. The gnat pick, the flea pick.
I mean, we're close though. Like there, lots of American territory is former Russian territory. Like we've exchanged territory with Russia. We're close enough that their empire encompassed part of America at one point.
Yeah. So the other thing is this justification. Why would anybody ally with the U.S. if, in order to protect them, we need to take over their territory? Right? This justification means we could take over any of our allies' territory under the excuse we need to protect it, right? What makes Greenland different from the mainland of Denmark, from England,
Canada.
Exactly.
Iceland.
Republicans position themselves as like the party of personal responsibility, and we value integrity is what they say. If we're attacking our ally, that's opposite. And America is going to be remembered as a bunch of backstabbing liars.
I don't like to compare Donald Trump to Hitler, but if we start invading Greenland, then you got to start comparing him to Hitler. The whole Holocaust thing really took Hitler to the next level. If not for that, he would have just been like, a big time conqueror, a warmonger, hateful person, which is exactly what Donald Trump would be if he invade. That would sort of be the missing piece that Donald Trump could clinch by invading Greenland.
I would agree with you, except did Germany have an outstanding defense agreement with Poland or Czechoslovakia? Because I don't think they did. I think they just invaded their neighbors, but they didn't consider them allies before them.
the terms of the Treaty of Versailles with like the military buildup and such.
Sure,
So
but
did
they
do
were
some
never
treaty
like
violations.
declared allies with their
No,
neighbors.
Exactly. That's true. They weren't stabbing anybody in the back. They were stabbing them in the front. You briefly touched on this, but it would be one thing if we needed Greenland to survive, but as far as I can tell, there's not even a good reason to do this. It's kind of just we got bored.
I've said it once and I'll say it 1,000 times. If you're really struggling to come up for a reason for why Trump is doing something, it's always a fucking real estate deal. And he's turning America into a petro state. He says he doesn't believe in global warming, but I mean, if you're a real estate guy and you want to get some appreciating real estate, you start melting the polar ice caps and then you go north and you claim some newly valuable territory.
Yeah. But so I think this shows
It's an
that
awful lot of foresight for him, though.
Congress needs to take back the war-making authority, the war-declaring authority, so that he can't do stuff like invade a country without their prior authorization, so that at least we all have time to debate this and decide as a country that we want to attack Greenland, and he doesn't just drag us into a war.
And like, what the hell is the debate? Like, there's no debate to be had here. This is just like the stupidest bloody thing. The only person in the administration who you hear talk about this is Stephen Miller, who's just bananas. He's like Gollum. I don't know. He's just like, what evil thing can I think of? Like just coming up with the most deranged shit ever. Invade Greenland? We have to have it. It's like, what the hell's wrong? My precious Greenland. Dude is sick.
Denmark is a small military, but a modern military. I think there would be some pushback. They have fighter jets, modern fighter jets, and
Also,
submarines.
The
American
rest of
fighter
NATO would
jets.
probably join them.
They have American fighter jets. They have American arms, and as well as homegrown arms.
Right, like Trump has already been like proving himself very unreliable with his whole approach to Ukraine and Russia and the tariffs. Obviously, invading a NATO ally would be just like, okay, you're not an ally.
Yeah, that would be
Why
the
would-
end of allies for the United States. There would be no more allies.
Why would anyone ever sign a treaty with us again if we'll just break it for no reason?
Invade them.
Yeah, how does Japan respond to that? How does Saudi Arabia respond to that? How does Turkey respond to that? If we can just invade our allies for seemingly no reason, there's no reason to partner with the United States anymore.
Right. I mean, and by the way, the U.S. has had military bases in Greenland. Right. So in addition to the fact that they're like a NATO ally and they have their own military, which is modern, and they could probably see a Russian invasion coming and with the help of other NATO allies could probably defend themselves. Yeah, there's just like if we feel like they don't have enough muscle up there, we could say, hey, we would like to put more muscle up there. Can you slice out an airfield? Can we get a couple airfields? And they'd probably be like, yeah.
It's
So,
just
yeah.
a bunch of useless ice. Take it all that you like.
If you were acting in any sort of sane fashion, you could probably make a deal for at this point, I think they would be pretty hesitant to let us put a military base. I think if you start talking about invading, then it limits your options. I mean, it's like such a small population that like Trump even floated the idea of paying every citizen of Greenland $100,000 as
America first,
a
baby.
deal.
Right.
100,000 times 100,000, 10 billion. Well,
Still cheaper
on the
than war,
order
I
of
guess.
government expenses, it's cheaper than ice for a year.
Right. Like,
And it has a lot of ice.
right. If Greenland is so strategically important to the U.S., like if it's really strategically important and in a way where just a really tight ally controlling it isn't good enough, then $10 billion could be totally reasonable. I'm sure that's less than what we spent on Venezuela. So, yeah, that I'd be for it if that made any sense at all. And if was like presented in a way that isn't just insulting and threatening to an ally, just even insulting and threatening an ally after tariffing them. And
Yeah, this is some fucking shameful shit as an American, dude, where I'm just like, fuck, I can't believe that my country is doing this.
But anyways, so I alluded to it last episode, but this finally came up, that thing that people talk about, disobeying illegal orders. There's a report that Trump asked Special Forces people to draw up invasion plans for Greenland, and they refused to, citing the illegality of that plan.
If so, good for them, dude.
so they've been fired now. No?
I get that. That's what I was thinking. Like, okay, so that's good that people can do that, and now we get to live in the next steps of that thing that people talk about, which is, I guess, they get fired or replaced, right? Like, and then the next people do it. So Greenland is living on borrowed time.
God, I hope not, dude. Some bullshit. Anyways, if you're a Republican or live in a Republican congressperson district, send them some mail or call them and tell them you don't want to go to war with Greenland and they should find their spine and take back the war-making power. And if you're a Republican who's in favor of invading Greenland, leave us a comment and expose your idiocy. I mean, give us your rational reasons, which you clearly have. And if you're a Republican who's against invading Greenland, tell us why you're still supporting Trump when he wants to invade Greenland, because that seems disqualifying.
Yeah. Cultivating some fruitful debate, I see.
Make sure to use lots of 4-letter words.
Reach out to anyone you can that has whatever we can do as Americans to not completely destroy our credibility on the world stage would be lovely. If you got ideas, let us know. And we'll talk to you on another land-grabbing episode of the Info Hazard Podcast Show. Bye.